In this video, I will show you some of the Cisco Packet Tracer basics, just in case you have not used it before. The most important part is adding and connecting devices. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to add a couple of random devices. So I will add a router and a switch. You can click on the device and then click in this working area to add it, or you can just drag the device from this panel right here. I'm going to add a PC and I'm going to add a laptop, and I'm going to rename these devices. Now, bear in mind that by doing this, I'm not changing the host name of the device. I'm just changing the name, like this label that it shows here in this working area that we're going to work with. So I'm going to name this router R1, and the switch is going to be S1, and then the PC can be like user, for example, and then this laptop is going to be used by an administrator. Now I'm going to connect them. I will use a straight through cable to connect pretty much all of these devices. So I will use port gigabit Ethernet 0/1 here and gigabit Ethernet 0/1 on the switch as well. To connect the PC to the switch, I'm going to use the same cable, but this time I'm going to use a fast Ethernet port and also a fast Ethernet port on the PC. So the reason why I used a gigabit Ethernet interface on the router and the switch, and here I'm going to use fast Ethernet, is because simply gigabit Ethernet was available here and the PC only has fast Ethernet. So even if I used the gigabit Ethernet interface on the switch, the speed between these two would still only be 100 megabits per second, which is exactly what fast Ethernet is. So let's do that. Now, when you buy a new router, it will not be configured to be accessible remotely. So you will have to use a console cable to connect some kind of a terminal to your router. So I'm going to use this console cable and I will plug it into the serial port on the laptop, and I will use the console port on the router. In order to do some basic configuration on the router, I will go to the laptop and then to desktop, terminal, OK, and I'm going to say no, and I'm in the router. So you will notice that the host name of the router is router. It has not changed to R1. As I said, this is just makeup, this name that we changed in here. So I'm going to go into the enable mode and then configure terminal, and then I'm going to say hostname R1. Next logical thing would be to configure this gigabit Ethernet interface. So I'm going to go into that interface. I'm going to say interface, gigabit Ethernet 0/1. I'm going to say IP address 10.0.0.1. I'm going to use a C mask. And I'm going to say no shut down. So that is how you bring up an interface. So since Packet Tracer is a simulator, and I would say they did a pretty decent job, you actually have to wait for this link to go up. But if you want to cheat a little bit, you can just press fast forward. And I think it forwards 30 seconds. So that you don't really have to wait all of those things that actually take time to happen in real life. Another thing I like to do that I'm going to show you is put labels on the links. So when I complete a scheme like this, I like to put on a label just to make configuration easier for myself. The way to do this is to either click here and then click on the place where you want to leave a note, and I'm going to say gigabit Ethernet. I'm just going to say G 0/1. I pressed the escape key on my keyboard, and that's how I got out of that note mode. The other way to add a note or a label, whatever you want to call it, is to press the N key on your keyboard and it goes into this note mode. Once you want to get out of that mode, just press escape. Now the only thing that is missing is an IP address on the computer. I'm going to go into IP configuration and configure an IP address. Let's say 10.0.0.10. Subnet mask. It assumes an A class, but I'm going to use the C class. And then the gateway, I'm not actually going to need it, but the gateway would be 10.0.0.1. Now we can actually communicate with the router. So I'm going to try to ping the router. I'm going to say ping 10.0.0.1, and that is obviously going to work. Another useful thing that I want to show you is the simulation mode. We will be using this during this course. Once you enter simulation mode, the time stops. So we are stuck in one moment in time. And if I say ping 10.0.0.1, so I try to ping the router, it's actually going to take us step by step. So we will see a packet that has just been created on the PC, and we can see the details. Let's go one step further. Now we can see the packet at the switch. And in here, for example, we can only see 2 layers. That's because this switch is a pure layer 2 device. So there is no layer 3. We will see the difference when we get to the router, where of course we will have 3 layers. And you can even go further into the details and look at all of these fields in the headers and in the packet. I'm going to continue to move forward until our ping is successful. So I've gotten the first out of 4 replies. I'm going to go back to real time and let that finish. Actually, there is another way to ping in Packet Tracer. You can use this option. It's called a simple PDU. It's basically just a ping. And the first device you click on is sending the ping, and the second device you click on is going to be the pinged device. So we can try that out by clicking on the PC and then on the router. And you will see the results right here. So we can see that our ping was successful. We will use this option heavily as we dive deeper, because it's a really easy way to troubleshoot the most basic connectivity. At the very end of this video, I would like to give you one fun fact here. So the word ping, I've heard people say that it stands for ping pong because ICMP is an echo kind of a packet, so you expect it to come back, so it's ping pong. Actually, ping is an acronym and it's short for Packet Internet Groper. There you go. Not sure how useful that information is, but a fun fact for the end of this video. See you in the next one.